Hello, 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 everyone. Good evening. I know I'm sorry that I'm getting in late tonight, but God bless. Robin, how you doing tonight, sweetheart? Hey, PG in chat, how are you, sweetie? Um, Mummy of Six says hello, PG. Hearts and prayers for summer. Absolutely. God bless. Hello, Kim. How are you doing tonight, sweetie? And Faith. Faith says, hello, PG in chat. Hello to you, sweetheart. And Fonda says, hi, PG. Hey, girl, what's up? And C says, greetings all. Greetings to you too, sweetie. Oh, Wisconsin Mama, how you doing, sweetie? She says, hello, PG mods in chat. Much love. Much love to you, girl. Christmas Angel says, hi, PG in chat. How are you doing tonight, sweetie? This is disgusting, Candus, and nothing like Lori Daybell. You're gonna find out a lot. She's a lot more like her than I thought too. A lot more. I mean, we got to understand that we're not looking at Lori Daybell seeked out money, right? She seeked out money. Candace is poor, but when it comes to the two personalities, you're going to find that, yeah, they're a whole lot alike. I mean, I had to do a lot of research on this, and in a short time, um, this case grabbed my attention. And it was something that, and 2023, as of January, these people are going to, their trial starts, and we want to make sure that these children get justice. Absolutely. I don't know why they've held it off so long, but you know, we can't fight the court systems and the law, right? They do it on their own time, and they do it slowly, right? Turtle, turtle, turtle. So, you know, but point being is we want to make sure that, waiting this long, they don't get off with what they done. So, but you'll see so many similarities with this woman and Candace's between their emotions and so forth. I'm not talking about outside, I'm talking about inside a human. How you doing, Faith? Hello, Molly. Hi, everyone. Love. Much love to you, Molly. How you doing tonight? And I want to thank all my mods that are showing up in here tonight. God bless. God bless. And all the ones in here supporting this channel and all these missing children. God bless. Hello, Dirt Mouth. How are you? Wisconsin Mama. I appreciate it. The heart, summer moon, you tall wells. Amen. Hello. Can only stay for a while. Work at 7. Love you, PG. Oh, I love you too. Always LA. God bless. And Linda. Hello, PG. I'm glad you're so dedicated to trying to find out what happened to Summer and bring her home and justice be served. Amen. Absolutely. Keep those prayers going up for that baby, right? Hey, PG and everybody in chat. How are you doing tonight, Brenda? God bless. Hello, Texas gal. Much love to you. M says, hello, PG. Hello to you, sweetheart. How you doing, Red Rip Homestead? God bless. Hello, PG. God bless you. Much love to you, girl. Linda says, hello, everyone in chat. Hello to you, sweetie. Hello, beautiful sunflower. Oh, that's sweet. She said it, Molly Roberts. Hello. Love you, PG. Finally making a live. Yeah, finally in here tonight. I wanted to make sure I kept my promise coming in here tonight And speaking on this topic in this case, I still got a cough. I want to ask everybody to send prayers up for Miss Daisy. Um, I I caught some of her live last night, and she was really sick. So please send those prayers up for her. That God heals her up and gets her well. Hello, Justice. She says hello, PG mods in chat. Oh, that is so sweet, Brenda. She says, I'm doing great, PG. I've got a week's worth of PG. I'm still got to catch up on. God bless you. God bless you. Hello, Faith. Oh, I appreciate that, Faith. That is so sweet. Please show PG some love and appreciation on all her hard work for summer. Hit that thumbs up button. Amen. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, when you hit that thumbs up button, you make sure you subscribe and so forth, it supports the channel. It absolutely helps Summer's channel. So God bless all that supporting little Summer. Absolutely. I hear Candus is back in Tennessee, and from what I'm understanding, I mean, you know, don't hold me to everything, but from what I'm understanding, is she's back over in Tennessee staying with someone, which Don B found out, I guess, started restalking a little bit, and that is what caused all the restraining order and everything. So, absolutely. Yep, she was trying to come back over into Tennessee and hang close to where old Donnie boy is now, so that because she knows he's getting out real soon, right? And she wanted to make sure that she tries to powwow real good in there with him so that she could get back on the hill as soon as he comes out, right? She ain't got no time to be brushing him off because she feels that she needs to be there to keep his mouth shut, right? I know Candus Wells. She played hard up until the last few weeks, right? Yeah. So, but Don's he's got a brain like an elephant. Trust me, he ain't gonna forget shit. When he comes out of there, it's not gonna be good. Hello, Sarah Lee. How are you doing tonight, sweetie? God bless. Yeah, let's keep those prayers going up for everyone. Absolutely. Oh no, always L8. He's not coming. He's not going to rehab. He took the extra months because he didn't want to go to rehab. He would have already been out if he'd have went to rehab. He said, no, just give me whatever you're going to give me. I'm not doing it. So they gave him a couple extra months. And so when he gets out, he's got like a clean slate. When he comes out, he's free to do whatever he wants to do, right? That's the way he wanted it. Yeah, what she said, she's wasn't in love. No, she loves him. You're right. She loves him, but she's not in love with him no more. But that all changed. She got back over in Tennessee, and you know, and now she's gonna love him because she found out nobody else is gonna love her. Right? Benny ran, and they all they all split in different directions. Right? Wisconsin mama, don't give me ideals up in my head. You know I'd be making a meme on that one. Oh shit. I could already picture it. I think I'll bring that out tomorrow night. I gotta make it. That's a good one. I'm pretty good, PG. I went to church with my niece and my niece and nephew today. First time I'd say in 20 years since I've been there was a good day. Oh, girl, God bless. God bless. Absolutely. You know, it's a wonderful thing to go to church. I mean, if you ain't been there in a while, you definitely you definitely want to go back, right? You want to go back because you know how much you've been missing. Absolutely. Um, that nope, that ain't true. Mom 06, he had rehab. You don't see what you don't understand is Don has a lawyer, and what happens is the lawyer just sets up for you to go to like AA meetings and you know whatever the court's telling you need to do. But for some reason, Don and Candus, I mean, when the kids when the kids got took and the court system told them that they needed to go to um a psychologist to be evaluated, they didn't want to do it. They tried to talk the attorney into talking the judge out of them having to do it, and I don't think they did do it. Um, and they supposed to went to anger management, which you know, and they didn't go to that either. And they were supposed to, do some rehab as well, get off the drinking if they couldn't get it done themselves and the drugs, and they didn't go to none of that either. I mean, these are two people that's like, I'm not going to do a fucking thing, right? Um, to better my life. I'm not going to do shit for myself or my kids. People like that, they can't do anything for anyone else because they can't even help themselves, right? And like I say, it starts with you, right? I mean, everything starts with us. Every last one of us, Um, in order to make this a better world, we have to start with us. If you love yourself, you love everybody else. You know, if you're able to see your airy ways and straighten them out, you can help other people, help other people that's got airy ways as well, right? That's why the Bible tells you sweep your own doorstep before you sweep anyone else's. Pick that big plank out of your own eye before you try to pick the speck out of someone else's. Um, yeah, I mean, when it comes, the best book that can educate any human in the world the most is the Bible. That's what I'm saying. The best, the best education anyone could ever get is not by reading it, but by reading and following it. Right? You learn a lot of things. You just pay attention. The Bible is the best counsel anyone can get. I mean, when we get in trouble, who do we run to? God. I ain't never seen anybody run to the devil when they're needing help. They run to God, you know? Even though they be doing the devil's will all the time, they run to God. So, when things get really bad, right? They should be running to God all the time. That's what they need to be doing. But I don't know. I think that's a subject for another day. Today, anyway, I'm going to tell you about this Daybell case at GP. I promise you, it looks like JLR hacked Domwell's Facebook and put his profile. Yeah, That is the truth, right? maybe that's why maybe that's why JLR keeps going after Grandis and after Grandis and Donald and them so hard. That's Donald's that's Don the third, because Donald's dad is Donald, the real Don Wells. And then Donald is Junior. And then his Don Jr. has a son, which is Donald the third. And he looks like JR. It's truth. I can't deny that. That is hilarious. Maybe ask JR, who's your daddy? Oh shoot. They got to hit rock bottom before they even straighten up. Poor baby. Pray for all beautiful children. Amen. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, she is, Brenda. That 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 Lori Vallow Daybell she is absolute nutcase. I'm not gonna lie. She's just I'm gonna tell you, that whole damn thing's disturbing, right? And it reminds me of Ben Hill Road. I don't care what anybody says, it reminds me of Ben Hill Road. Absolutely. Yeah. That is so serious. Oh crap. It did. I can't lie. I did hear that there is a CPS hearing the 28th of October 2022. Um, I there's been a lot of CPS hearings, and I don't. Candus hasn't been Donald was keeping up with them, um, pretty good. I mean, going to. I think they. I think they only might have missed one when he was out, but I know Candace missed a few, so she ain't been keeping up with them. Yeah, Lori Daybell's a trip. She is a absolute trip. Let me tell you. Let's get a little insight on this case. This is Lori and Chad Daybell. Um, Lori and Chad Daybell are a little bit disturbing due to the fact that Lori Lori wanted everyone to believe that, she believed in the apocalypse, that she believed in walking dead people. Um, Bullshit. I call bullshit. I have researched this case extensively um, over the last few days. And, you know, you don't believe, you could say whatever you want to say. I mean, you know, but I'm a pretty good judge upon characters. And here's my thing is, she that was her excuse to do the evilness that she was doing. Like, and this man, Chad Daybell, he didn't believe the shit he was writing in those books. And let me tell you something, that man didn't have no visions of anything except of what he wanted, right? And Lori, what you had here was two mental cases that didn't mind being mental and willing to do whatever it took to live the type of life they wanted to live. There you go. That's what you had. And they finally ran into each other, right? They finally connected. And when they connected, you know, the two peas in that pot connected. They, put their plans in motion. And that Lori Daybell, she liked she liked the attention. She liked the bright light. the attention, being, feeling like she was in the spotlight all the time, right? Like she was just dancing and bathing in the sun. Um, and when that light started to dim or burn out, that's why she had husband number one, two, three, four, because, that spark kind of burns out after a while. And when she wasn't feeling it, she was getting all this attention, she moved on to somebody else, right? And be in their light for a while. And then she stumbles upon this particular um human that has the same type of mind frame and mental conditions that she has, right? Willing to do anything. I mean, there is no bars hold when it comes to these two. And that brother of hers as well, right? So basically, what they did is they got together and she figured out a way to get her one husband out of the way, um, Charles, and basically thought she was going to get $1 million life insurance policy, right? Now, he wasn't a walking dead human, you know, with a big old demon in him. No, that's crazy. What he was is a walking money sign for her. And she thought she still was about to get that insurance policy. So basically, she had, her and her brother, between the two of them, often is what they did. And then surprise, 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 Gomer Pal showed up, right? Yeah. And you know what? She found out his sister was the one that got all the money, the $1,000,000, because he was divorced her, right? And she was pissed. She calls old Chad up, and Chad says, "Well, you know, don't worry about it. Um, my old lady's a walking zombie too, right? And she ain't, she ain't doing well anymore because I don't want her to, and I'll make sure I take care of that and get that life insurance policy so we can. And in the meantime, um, I didn't want to tell you, but there's two other, you know, problems that need to be taken care of, and it just happened to be those little kids, right? And she had to just, she had a choice to make: those children or this worthless sack of shit. And she took the worthless sack of shit, right? Because she wanted to be free anyway. She offed the person that she had to send the children to when she wanted me time, which was Charles and his family. And now she's stuck with the kids all the time, which she didn't want to be. And yeah, so now her freedom was pretty much gone, especially when it came to JJ. And she's like, okay, well, you know, sure, no problem. Um, you dig the graves and I'll have my brother bag it, right? He'll bag and drag and you just dig. So yeah, some evil shit there, right? Absolutely evil, pure evil. Let's go on and see some more pictures of these criminals. Right there. Right there's the two beautiful children that they destroyed. You know, I mean, they stuck their heads together, which made nothing but a big ass. Lori Daybell and Chad Daybell. You know, you put them two heads together, you don't get nothing but an ass, right? and what an ass thinks like an ass. And that ass destroyed these two beautiful children and a lot of other beautiful people in the mix of it all as well. Like Charles and Daybell's wife, I believe her name's Tammy. So absolutely. And this is the best gift that we could have got, right? This is the best gift we could have got right here, is seeing her handcuffed. And look at the smile on her face. She's got a smile on her face after all the people she destroyed. She sits there with a freaking smile on her face. Don't you want to just, people like that, you just want to slap it off their face, right? Like, what the hell are you smelling about? You're sick. And that's where I'm saying, doesn't she remind you a lot of Candus? Because Candus is sitting in that chair singing to Benny, smiling for fucking Ernie. Like this lady smells for all them 5 fucking husbands, right down to Chad that destroys everything. But, and she's still smiling. And just like Candus, after, Summer was gone, she's still laughing, smiling. Even went on a live where you couldn't speak about Summer at all, or you're going to be blocked, right? Don't speak about Summer. Just let me laugh. She go on panel to laugh, sing, mess around, like just mindless as fuck. How could people move on with their lives like that? Well, here we go. Lori Daybell. She explains Candus Wells, right? I mean, to me, she explains Candus. Yeah, they took a vacation. Well, right here. Here you go, Lori Daybell. Her brother, the one that was actually helping her do all this evilness, cause of death was suspicious. Cause of death was suspicious. The 5th husband's ex-wife, Tammy Daybell, just 49 years old, 5 children, every right to live her life. And, it wasn't natural causes. They pulled her out to do an autopsy and found out that she died from suffocation. That's what she died from, suffocation, lack of air to the lungs. And now he's up for murder. There is the 4th husband, Charles. And it was JJ was Charles's sister's child. And it was the grandparents of JJ and Charles's parents that actually reported the JJ missing. And that's when they found out that also daughter was missing as well. So there you go. That's how it all came about. And the brother, Lori and the brother, set Charles up because they asked him to take JJ to school that morning. He comes to take JJ to school that morning, and that's when he was set up for them to do what they done to him, which was murdered him, right? And the 3rd husband, they say he had a heart attack, but they said it under suspicious circumstances as well, right? And this is Lori's sister, who in 1998, age 31, ended up dead, and they said it was a suspicious death as well. It seems like a lot of people around Lori that Lori don't like or get along with end up dead, right? So basically, what they're saying is they suspect her of doing something to cause all of these people's death, right? Including Tammy's, by putting pressure on Tammy's husband to get it done. So, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. But if she wouldn't have got away with doing her sister, none of the rest of these people would have any problems. If they would have, if they would have done something more into the fourth husband, they could have saved the rest of the people. But the law didn't. If they'd have dug into the fifth, into Tammy Daybell's death and found out that she was, suffocated and murdered, and why they didn't do an autopsy, I don't know. I thought that was just protocol, right? But um yeah, the children could have been saved at that point, but no, you know, nope, they still didn't do nothing, and this just shows you how the law works, right? This is how the law works. They do nothing. Um, you know, and the fourth husband went to the police, told them everything. I mean, practically begged for him to save his life, and they didn't. And he put his guard down, and look what happened to him. That's what happened to him. He ended up dead. But yeah, that's why I say we need to change our laws. There she is. Look at her. Look at her. She's in her freaking jailhouse PJs, and sitting there laughing and smiling. I mean, she's a complete and utter mental case, right? Look at them beautiful babies. Two beautiful children that had every right to live their life. Her daughter deserved to go to prom. She deserved to, you know, learn how to drive and have friends and get married and have a family of her own. But she won't ever have that because of what's in the middle here. A worthless, self centered, self seeking bitch. Right? I call it like I see it. And that little boy right there, you know, you don't have no life as well. And people say this don't remind you of Candus. Yeah, it does. She burned her first son's life, and then her daughter's gone now, right? When you allow these people to get away with an inch, they take a mile. And what is Candus doing? Just like this self-seeking bitch here in the middle, laughing, smiling, thinking that she's about to get away with it all, right? Well, so did she, and she didn't. Candus, she didn't. So, if you're watching tonight, stick that up your crawl hole, right? And this is Lori Daybell's oldest son, which is also a criminal. Um, he survived. He survived. Um, she let him live. This is a picture of these two beautiful children and the way they were put in the ground. They believe that that the sister they believe that the sister was put into a storage unit and possibly maybe kept alive for a while before they did what they did to her. Um, and as for JJ, he was wrapped in duct tape from head to his toes, and they think they might have put him in the ground alive, if you could imagine that. Yes, Lisa, the oldest son is. Yes. Yes, he has sexual assault charges against him. He went out with a lady who said she willfully kissed him, but he wanted to go farther. She said no, no, no. You know, when a person, whether it be a man or a woman, when someone says no, it's no, right? It's no. That, that's it. But, you know, I guess he don't know the word no. Hasn't ever been taught what no means. I'm surprised being raised by this bitch, that he was even still living, right? But you know, but then again, he probably was just like her, and she loved it. Yeah, it's unbelievable how horrifying these are Mr. Daybell's 5 children, Chad Daybell's 5 children, who, let me remind you, is still 100% alive and well, supporting their daddy, saying, I don't think he had anything to do with none of it. Well, um, I think he did, in my opinion, right? I think he did. And I think you all know he pretty much did. You just ain't got your mother anymore, and you know, and you feel doing all of this to him ain't gonna bring her back. And well, he didn't hurt you guys anyway. I mean, you ain't one of the ones that ended up, destroyed. So you don't care. Well, you don't want a man back in your life like that, right? Because if he's capable of doing that to the mom and he gets away with it, then they ain't safe anymore either, right? They're not safe. Their children ain't safe. I mean, this is a man that may get insurance on them or their grandkids or what, and in the future. And I think they better open their eyes and their brains and their minds, and start seeing the truth to save themselves and their family in the future. You just don't let someone, you don't think you're safe just because they let you live. He got caught, you know, so we don't know what he was really capable of doing because he didn't get to keep going, right? And that might be why all 5 of them are still sitting there. Yeah. Oh, she'll get it in prison. Trust and believe she'll get it in prison. For sure. This is her son. And yeah, both of them criminals. So anyway, I'm gonna let I got a timeline a timeline that shows you how long it took for the law to stop all of this stuff, which is amazing that it took this long. I mean, I it will throw you back in your chair like, what the hell? How did it take this long to solve all of this, right?
Pre-2019.
This starts in 2019. Actually, it started way before that. It actually started in like 2016, 2017. But I'm taking it from 2019, but it'll mention, um, it dates all the way back to 2006. 2019 is when everything started coming down on them. But it goes back to 2000. It starts in like 2006.
Chad and Tammy Daybell married on March 9, 1990, in Ante, Utah, according to her obituary. The couple lived in Springville, Utah, where they founded Spring Creek Book Company, through which Chad published many of his books. The couple had 5 children before moving to their home in Salem, Idaho, in 2015. Tammy worked as a school librarian. In 2006, marriage records show Lori Ryan married her 4th husband, Charles Vallow. Lori entered the marriage with her son, Colby, and Tylee, the daughter with her 3rd husband, Joseph Ryan Jr. Family members say in
Now, she planned on doing off Ryan as well. Her daughter's real dad. She planned on doing off with him, but I think after she did off with his daughter, she thought she'd let him live in misery the rest of his life, missing his child, right? So, she felt that was a even more evil way to get at him than taking him out of the world. This woman was super freaking evil.
2014, Charles and Lori adopted Joshua J.J. Vallow. He is the biological grandson of Charles's sister Kay Woodcock, who is married to Larry Woodcock. Social media posts indicate that sometime in 2014, the Vallows moved to the island of Kauai in Hawaii. The couple operated a small business.
And that's another question I'd like to be answered. Why, when they divorced and JJ didn't belong to, JJ didn't belong to Lori's family. He belonged to Charles's family. So why was JJ living with Lori instead of Charles and his family? Why did she get custody of JJ? I mean, that didn't make no sense, right? I think when they got divorced, that JJ would have went with Charles and Charles's family because he was nothing to Lori at all, and should not have been with her to begin with, right?
On the island, as indicated by business records. The family then moved back to the mainland between 2016 and 2017. While the Vallow family lived in Arizona, Tylee's father, Joseph Ryan, died on April 3, 2018. According to a copy of the medical examiner's report, the cause of death was ruled a heart attack. He was cremated and little other information is available about his death.
There you go. That was what I was talking about. His death was suspicious, and when he had that heart attack, his death was suspicious, and the daughter was like, "You wanted him dead." And they cremated him, so there's no getting his body back to do any more forensics upon, to really find out what caused the heart attack, right? They dropped the ball so much.
Almost 1 year before the public announcement of the cases, Chad and Lori made their first appearance together on the Preparing a People podcast Time to Warrior Up. The two appeared with others on several of the podcasts, many focused on the end of the world. Preparing a People has since removed the podcast and publicly dissociated itself from the couple. A felony indictment indicates that on October 26, 2018, Lori and Chad began discussing their religious beliefs to justify killing Tammy, JJ, and Tylee. The couple is believed to have met around this time at a religious conference in St. George, Utah. 2019. Arizona police body camera footage shows Charles pleading for Lori to receive mental health help at Community Bridges on January 31. Officers determined she had a normal state of mind and she was medically cleared by Community Bridges. Charles files for divorce from Lori in February. He claims she views herself as a god preparing for the second coming of Christ, according to court documents. Charles claims his wife would kill him if he got in her way to perform her mission. Divorce proceedings are later stopped after Charles says he wants to make the marriage work. The family says Lori disappears to Hawaii in February for nearly 2 months and leaves the children with others. Around June, Lori's niece, Melanie Boudreau, and her husband, Brandon Boudreau, decide to get a divorce as first reported by Fox 13 Salt Lake City. Brandon claims Melanie affiliated herself with similar beliefs as her aunt and joined a cult. On July 11, Lori's brother, Alex Cox, shoots and kills Charles. Alex says the shooting was in self-defense. By the end of August, Lori, Tylee, JJ, Alex, and Melanie moved to Rexburg, Idaho. Just days after Charles is killed, Chad sends multiple texts to Lori in what investigators call a romance novel. Chad, who is still married to Tammy, describes in detail a sexual relationship between James and Elena, the names he reportedly uses to substitute for himself and Lori. On Sept 8, Tylee, JJ, Lori and Alex visit Yellowstone National Park. Officials say this is the last time anyone saw Tylee alive. The FBI later asks for help from anyone who may have photos of the family taken that day in the park. Chad signs an application with Tammy on Sept 8 to increase her life insurance to the maximum amount allowed on the policy. On Sept 9, phone records place Alex on Chad's property in the general area where investigators would eventually find Tylee's remains. That same day, Chad allegedly texts Tammy saying he shot a raccoon and buried it in their pet cemetery. Lori.
That is, on that day, September the 3rd, is when they killed the daughter. And then they burned her body after they killed her, mutilated her, and then burned her before burying her.
Enrolls JJ at Kennedy Elementary School in Rexburg on Sept 3, Principal Josh Wilson says. Less than 3 weeks later, JJ attends class for the last time and his mother unenrolls him, saying he would be homeschooled. Tylee was never enrolled in any school in Idaho even though Lori claimed her daughter was attending BYU Idaho. Related principal offers explanation about why Joshua J.J. Vallow wasn't reported missing in September. On October 1, Lori rents a 10x10 storage unit from Self Storage Plus in Rexburg. Surveillance video at the facility, exclusively obtained by EastIdahoNews.com, shows Lori and a man visiting the unit 9 times in October and once in November. Often the man, who appears to be Alex, comes alone.
Now, they're thinking that Tylee was being held in that storage for a long time. They were showing up because they were, feeding her a little bit, abusing her, who knows what they were doing, right? Who knows what they were doing? Nobody knows.
Another visit shows Alex and a man who appears to be Chad. During one visit, Chad and Lori visit the storage facility together. On October 2, Brandon returns from the gym to his Arizona home when he says he was shot at with the bullet missing his head by inches. Arizona Central reports the shooter was driving a Jeep registered to the dead Charles Vallow. That same day, Lori purchases a wedding ring on Amazon, later seen on her finger at her beach wedding with Chad. On October 9, Tammy calls 911 and says a masked man shot at her in her driveway with a paintball gun. She posts about the experience on Facebook, saying she has no idea who the person was or why they would shoot at her. Court documents later indicate Alex attempted to shoot and kill Tammy that day. Related Tammy Daybell reported a masked man shot at her with a paintball gun 10 days before her suspicious death. Related Sheriff details what happened when deputies responded to Tammy Daybell's death as Lori Daybell's son makes a passionate plea. 10 days later, Chad calls 911 and says Tammy died in her sleep at their Salem home. Detectives visit the home and investigators originally rule the death as natural. The coroner does not perform an autopsy. Tammy is buried at the Evergreen Cemetery in Springville on October 22. The family holds a memorial service in Rexburg the following day. 2 weeks after Tammy's death, Chad and Lori are married in Hawaii on November 5.
And no one thought anything was suspicious about that, right? They didn't think nothing suspicious about this woman, getting shot at, right? 2 weeks before she's found dead in, the bedroom, suffocated. There's no autopsy report. I mean, okay, if there wasn't an autopsy done, then how can the coroner say it was natural causes? How are you going to do that if you didn't even check to see if it was anything else, right? That must have been a damn lazy coroner.
They then return to Rexburg. Over the coming weeks, police say Chad told witnesses that Lori had no minor children. Police also say Lori told people Tylee died years earlier.
Yes, Judith. They did. They did. Did they ever determine Tammy's death? Yes, they did. It was suffocation. Lack of air. That's why he is now being charged for his wife's murder. Yes, he is. They had to exhume her and do an autopsy to find that out because the coroner that originally called said it was natural causes didn't do an autopsy at all and therefore dropped the ball, right? I think anyone that dies, under 50, actually anyone that dies under the age of 60 should have an autopsy done on them, but actually everyone, the way the world is today with such evil bastards in it, I think everybody should have, an autopsy done to make sure it wasn't foul play, because there's too much foul play going on and people are getting away with it. And it takes like no time, it don't take that long to do an autopsy to figure out if the person was suffocated. I mean, and they can pull, they can do a spinal tap to see if the person was poisoned, if there's any drugs or anything that shouldn't be in their bodies. It isn't that big of a deal, and it should absolutely be done. I mean, the hair could be checked. Like I said, a spinal tap they could still do and be checked. There's just they should make sure it was not foul play, right? Especially if any type of insurance money is involved in it. And insurance policies should be public. They should be public. Maybe not how much the insurance policy is worth, but what I'm saying is, a person should be able to. There should be a website. There should be a government website where people can go, type in their name, social security number, and find out if there's any insurance policies anywhere upon them, right? Any company, every insurance company should have to download everyone's name. When you go in to get a policy, it should have to be downloaded on that website, for the person to be able to check, right? The person's name and social security number should be put in that website so they can see if anyone out there's got a policy upon them. And that's something that we need to fight to get in place, because too many people are getting policies on their grandkids and doing things. They're getting policies, on family members. They're getting policies on spouses. And no, that's bullshit. that there should be a law against anyone. I thought that if you get an insurance policy upon someone, that person has to sign. They have to agree, but that isn't the case. That is not the case. Um, you'd be surprised at how many people can take insurance policies out on their spouse, out on their children, out on their grandchildren, out on just people they know, as long as they've got the information, and that person has no idea if that insurance policy is in place. There's a lot of of this going on also with fiancés, you know, where they're getting insurance policies on their fiance and then collecting off of it. And it's just bullshit.
November 26th, the Rexburg Police Department conducts a welfare check for JJ at the request of his grandparents, Larry and Kay Woodcock. They had not spoken with the boy in months. JJ is not.
Oh, it doesn't. If you and your husband have life insurance policies, and you make him the beneficiary and he makes you the beneficiary, even if you divorce, if that is not changed, if you don't go in and change it, or he doesn't go change it, yes, you are still, if something happens to you, he gets it. If something happens to him, you still get it. Even if he got remarried and you're still the one still on that insurance policy, you will get that money. It has to be changed. Absolutely. Because whoever you make beneficiary, that is who's going to get that money.
Not at the townhome on Pioneer Road, and Lori tells police her son was with her friend, Melanie Gibb, in Arizona. Police soon determine that JJ was not with Melanie. Related mother of missing kids knows where they are or what happened to them, police say. The next morning, November 27th, the Rexburg Police Department serves a search warrant. When officers arrive, Chad and Lori are gone. Court documents indicate that on December 1st, Chad and Lori catch an American Airlines flight to Lihu, Hawaii. The children are not with their parents. On December 6th, Melanie Gibb contacts the Rexburg Police Department to say that Chad and Lori called her on November 26th and asked her to lie about the location of JJ. As deputies investigate, the Fremont County Sheriff's Office determines Tammy Daybell's death is suspicious.
Well, they could have got to it a lot quicker, but this particular friend of the Daybells, she did lie to the police at first. She lied to them at first and told them that, JJ was with her. She did lie to the police at first for the Daybells. And then because she said the Daybells told her that the grandmother on Charles's sister was going to be trying to steal JJ away from her, and she was hiding him. But then she realized that something wasn't right. I don't know if she talked to the grandmother herself or what happened, but she decided to go back to the police and, change it up. Right? That's what she did. And I agree. I think that they also did away with the brother because yes, he did help him to do too many people. He knew too much. And the old saying, they'll do it with you, they might do it to you. They may have been getting scared, a little scared of him, right? Because he was doing all the dirty work. And I guess after she got rid of the kids, was so free and everything, and she might have felt that she just didn't need him anymore, right?
Tammy's body is exhumed on December 11th and an autopsy is performed in Utah. The results of the autopsy are not released. On December 12th, Alex suddenly dies in Gilbert, Arizona at age 51. In a police interview months after his death, Alex's wife Zulema Patnaz spoke with officers. She said that a few days before Alex died, he told her that if anything happened to him, there was money in a bag for her hidden in a closet. On December 20, the Rexburg Police Department announces JJ and Tylee are missing. Police say their disappearance is possibly linked to the suspicious death of Tammy. The following day, police call Chad and Lori persons of interest. Related police release photos of mother, stepdad who are now persons of interest in connection to children's disappearance. On December 23, the attorney representing the Daybells, Sean Bartolek, releases a statement calling the parents loving and devoted. He says the allegations will be addressed once they move beyond rumor and speculation. Related parents of missing Rexburg children issue a statement. Attorney says they are loving and devoted. Related despite hundreds of tips, investigators say they're closer to finding missing Rexburg kids. On December 30, the Rexburg Police Department issues a news release saying they have information indicating Lori knows either the location of the children or what has happened to them. Call the parents' lack of cooperation astonishing as the couple refuses to cooperate. 2020. Local investigators and the FBI serve a search warrant on Chad's home in Salem on January 3. Fremont County Sheriff Len Humphreys says investigators recovered 43 items, including computers, cell phones, journals, documents, and medications.
And there you go. What was they doing at the Wells home? Collecting all the same types of things, right? All the same types of things.
These are sent to an FBI lab for further analysis. Related police conclude search at Daybell home. Related sheriff's office collects 43 items during raid at Daybell home. On January 7, Larry and Kay Woodcock travel to Rexburg from their home in Lake Charles, Louisiana and announce a $20,000 reward for information leading to the recovery of the kids. Related, all I want is just to see those children. Grandparents announce $20,000 reward for JJ and Tylee. Chad Daybell's brother, Matt Daybell, pleads for him to cooperate with the investigation on January 10. Matt says his immediate family had little association with Chad due to concerns about his religious claims and books. Related, Chad Daybell's brother issues statement pleading for him to cooperate with investigation. On January 25, the Kauai Police Department serves Lori with a notice stating she must produce JJ and Tylee to the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare or the Rexburg Police Department within 5 days. EastIdahoNews.com reporter Nate Eden confronts Chad and Lori in Hawaii on January 26 after police stop them at the Kauai Beach Resort. Law enforcement seizes the couple's rental car and search.
Alex Cox autopsy, blood clot wedged into his lung, and high blood pressure contributed, his mother said. There was family history of this condition. He was probably stressed from all happened. Well, he ended up real sick in the care of his sister and Mr. Daybell and old Chatty boy. And there is medications. I could tell you a few, but I don't think that would be wise. But there is medications that you can give to someone that will cause that exact thing to happen to them. And yeah, it would look like an accident if they don't look for that particular medication in their system. That's why I say, the spinal tap is very important because it could tell any medications that's been put in the body back for months, right? So that's what I'm talking about.
Their rental townhome in Princeville, Hawaii. The parents refuse to say where the children are. On January 30, Lori misses the 5 p.m. deadline to produce JJ and Tylee. Kay holds a news conference expressing her disappointment. On February 3, EastIdahoNews.com visits the storage unit where Lori abandoned several of the kids' items. Bikes, a scooter, winter clothing, a photo album with pictures of JJ and Tylee, sports equipment, a backpack with JJ's initials and a jersey with Colby Ryan's name on it are left in the unit. There are also blankets showing photos of the children, one focused on JJ with the other showing photos of Tylee.
Now, does that remind anybody of Candus giving away all the summer stuff, right? Except a few items that she didn't keep. She stored them out in the shed, right? There you go. There you go.
February 12th, Kay tells EastIdahoNews.com that in February 2019, Charles removed Lori from a $1 million life insurance policy. Kay was named the sole beneficiary. On February 20th, police in Kauai arrest Lori on a $5 million warrant out of Madison County. She is charged with 2 felony counts of desertion and non-support of dependent children. She is also charged with arrests and seizures, resisting or obstructing officers, criminal solicitation to commit a crime, and contempt of court, willful disobedience of court process or order. On February 26, Lori waives her extradition to Idaho after 6 days behind bars in Hawaii. The waiver comes after multiple attempts to reduce bail fail. Idaho authorities extradite Lori from Hawaii to Rexburg on March 5. They land in an airplane at the Rexburg airport and Nate Eden attempts to speak with her before deputies drive her to the Madison County Jail. She refuses to speak. Lori made her initial court appearance in Rexburg on March 6. Hundreds wait in line hoping to catch a glimpse of the hearing where Magistrate Judge Farron Edens reduces her bail to $1 million. She remains in jail unable to post bond. On April 9, EastIdahoNews.com obtains a letter from the Idaho Attorney General stating Chad and Lori are under investigation for conspiracy, attempted murder and/or murder by the Idaho Attorney General's office.
And what they didn't, they're overlooking is the fact that people say, well, why did she do that to the children? I tell you why she wasn't reporting them missing or anything. She was still collecting their Social Security because the daughters, Tylee's dad was passed away, right? The daughter that had passed away, and under suspicious circumstances, I don't know what's up with me and my words tonight, but I'm not pronouncing them right. But it was under, suspicious circumstances. And the thing is they wrote it off. They couldn't really prove nothing. But that made Tylee entitled to Social Security from her dad, right? Big Social Security check. And because JJ was, challenged, mentally, as a child and physically, it made, he already got a Social Security check. So she was collecting in all that money. So, again, it was for the dollar, right? It was for the dollar. Is why she was, saying that Tylee's off to college and JJ's off with friends or with family here and there and one place and another. She wanted to keep that money coming in. Absolutely. This bitch was all about the dollar. Trust that.
The Maricopa County Medical Examiner releases Alex's autopsy on May 8. It says he died of natural causes, specifically blood clots in the lungs.
And that is the reason. That is the reason that Candus and Donald Wells didn't turn tail and haul ass early on in what happened to their daughter, because they started getting the gift cards in the mail. They started getting the cash app. They started getting, financially supported by all of these people, and they didn't want to give that money up. They didn't want to give it up. So, they kept the facade up, you know, and the bullshit and kick back and just let that roll in, right? It was all about the money. All about the money.
Melanie Gibb breaks her silence to EastIdahoNews.com and reveals explosive new details about her relationship with Chad and Lori and their religious beliefs. Around 7 a.m. on June 9, the Rexburg Police Department, FBI, and Fremont County Sheriff's Office serve a search warrant at Chad's home. Within hours, investigators uncover human remains buried on the property, later identified as those of JJ and Tylee. Around 11:30 a.m. on June 9, Chad is taken into custody about a mile from his home. He's booked into the Fremont County Jail on 2 felony charges of concealment, distribution, or alteration of evidence. Chad makes his first court appearance on June 10 via video from the jail. Edens sets bail at $1 million. Memorials are set up along the fence of the property where the children were found. Several candlelight vigils are held in their honor. On June 29, prosecutors file charges against Lori, including 2 felony counts of conspiracy to commit destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence. On July 2, prosecutors dismiss 2 felony counts of desertion and non-support of children against Lori. On July 15, she pleads not guilty to misdemeanor resisting or obstructing officers, criminal solicitation to commit a crime, and contempt of court. On August 3 and 4, Chad's preliminary hearing is held in Fremont County. Friends, investigators, and witnesses testify, and Edens concludes the prosecution has enough probable cause to advance the case to the district court. Lori waives her preliminary hearing scheduled on August 10 and 11 in Fremont County. The case automatically advances to district court. Chad appeared for his district court arraignment on August 21 before District Judge Stephen Boyce. He pleads not guilty to the felony charges. On August 27, Chad's attorney John Pryor asks Boyce to dismiss the entire case against his client. Madison County prosecuting attorney.
The entire case against his client. Wow. Unbelievable, right? Unbelievable. Yes, she got rid of Summer's belongings. If my child or grandchild went missing and I thought they were abducted, I wouldn't ever leave that house. She knew to come back to. Absolutely, Judith. I so agree with you. I totally and utterly agree with you. I've seen parents of missing children live in the same house for ever, right? Because they thought that child's going to come back at some point. And actually, I seen one one particular mother that she had 2 other children, and when her daughter was took, and they did find her later, and when she returned home, um, she wouldn't move. That mother would not move from there. She was home all the time. She was so worried her daughter would come home, and she finally did. But thanks to seeing pictures on the milk cartons, right? It led her daughter back to her. But that don't happen very often. But you're right. Absolutely. I mean, if your child really is abducted, there's just no way you could get rid of his things. There's no way you could you would always you would always be until it's found one way or another. You would always be you know, waiting. You'll always be waiting. There's just no way you would ever leave due to the fact that you keep that hope, right? And Candace, she knows Summer. I mean, her and Donald told everybody from day one in so many different ways, right? I'll see her in the resurrection. You know, I gotta live for my boys. They're still here, and Summer always be with me. You know what I'm saying? How many more ways can you tell someone, you know, that I know what happened? They're not with us any longer. You just need to understand it, right? And I mean, when they said that, when he came out and said, you know, they wasted their time searching for Summer, we knew she wasn't out there. That right there pretty much told everyone they knew what happened to her, right? I mean, I don't know how many ways it used to be. It used to be that those kind of words is exactly what got criminals put in prison, right? They don't get them criminals put in prison. These criminals could say whatever. I mean, everything except come out and say yes, and this is where the body is, and they are able to walk free. It's crazy as hell. You know, I don't know what's wrong with our law anymore.
Attorney Rob Wood files a motion on Sept 1 asking to combine the cases for Chad and Lori. He says having the cases together will be more efficient since he plans to present the same evidence and witnesses. On Sept 10, Lori is arraigned in district court where she pleads not guilty to the 2 felony counts of conspiracy to commit destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence. On October 19, the anniversary of Tammy Daybell's death, her parents and siblings announced the creation of the Tammy Douglas Daybell Foundation to honor her legacy of service and love of literacy. On November 5, EastIdahoNews.com obtains audio of Lori saying she was going to murder her third husband, Joe Ryan, while speaking at a meeting in October 2018. She says she became closer to God and ultimately did not need to act against Joe. 2021.
Well, that's funny because they think that Joe got it too, right?
January, an audio recording between Prosecutor Wood and Summer Shiflett, Lori's sister, is released. Wood tells Summer he plans to file conspiracy to commit murder charges against the Daybells.
You know, I think an autopsy should have been done on Joe and on her brother because I'm going to tell you why. What causes a heart attack? A blood clot going to the heart, right? And point being is, Joe's might have went to the heart and killed him, causing the heart attack from the same drug that the blood clot ended up in the brother's lung. I mean, what I'm saying is when you give somebody medication that causes, that can cause blood clots like that, you don't know where the blood clot's going to end up. It could end up in the lung, the brain, the heart. You see what I'm saying? Point being is, if it hits a vital place, it kills them. So I'm thinking, something fishy was done there, and it should be looked into.
Listen, new information revealed in recording between Lori Daybell's sister and Prosecutor Wood. On February 4, the Fremont County Sheriff's Office announces Tammy's autopsy is complete but details are not released. That same day, newly elected Fremont County Prosecuting Attorney Lindsay Blake requests Tammy's death investigation case be sent back to her office from the Idaho Attorney General. The AG transfers the case. On March 22, Wood adds veteran Missouri homicide attorney Rachel Smith to assist his team in the case. On May 24, a grand jury indicts Chad and Lori on several new felony charges, including first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. Prosecutors announced the charges during a May 25 news conference, releasing the indictment containing additional information surrounding the homicides of Tylee, JJ, and Tammy. On June 8, Lori is committed to the Idaho Department of Health.
Exactly. There is a database, but as you said, it's voluntary for companies to participate or not. It should be mandatory. It should be mandatory. That's what it should be.
And welfare. A psychologist deems her not fit for trial and a judge agrees she cannot assist in her defense. Chad pleads not guilty to all counts in the indictment on June 9. His children sit behind him in the courtroom. On June 24, a grand jury in Arizona indicts Lori for conspiracy to commit murder in the death of her fourth husband, Charles Vallow. Prosecutors declined to press charges against Chad, saying there is no reasonable likelihood of conviction. On July 29, prosecutors dropped the destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence charges against Chad and Lori. Prosecutors announce on August 5 they will seek the death penalty against Chad, saying the nature and magnitude of these crimes warrant the possibility of the highest possible punishment. In a September interview with 48 Hours, Chad's children say their father was framed and their mother died of asphyxiation. Following a change of venue hearing on October 5, Boyce rules the Daybell trial will be.
Yeah, does those children understand what that word means? It means suffocation, lack of air, abnormal death. Wow. What school would they send their kids to?
Moved from Fremont County to Ada County. The Idaho Supreme Court approves the move to Idaho's most populous county. On October 7, Chandler, Arizona police release their entire case file for the investigation into Charles's homicide. Included are gigabytes of never-before-seen video interviews, audio recordings, text messages, and police reports. On December 28, Boyce orders that Mark Means, Lori's attorney, can no longer represent her. Boyce cites the conflict of interest in Means representing both Chad and Lori, as well as concerns over his legal competency and effectiveness. 2022. In March, Arizona prosecutors announced they will not file conspiracy to commit murder charges against Chad in the attempted shooting case of Brandon Boudreaux. They cite no reasonable likelihood of conviction as the reason. Prosecutors do not announce if Lori will face charges. Boyce denies a request from John Pryor on March 21 to sever Chad's case from Lori's. On April 11, Boyce issues a written order saying Lori is now competent for trial and fit to proceed. She is ordered to be released from a Department of Health and Welfare facility and an arraignment date is set. Lori is arraigned on April 19. She remains silent and her attorney Jim Archibald asks Boyce to enter a not guilty plea on her behalf.
See, her whole plan, believing in, the apocalypse shit. She researched this nutball Chad Daybell and his books and sought him out and sought that particular, scenario out because she already had in her evil little mind concocted what she was wanting to do to some people. And what better way, to think you're going to get away, with a little while locked up in a mental institution instead of life in prison or worse, the death penalty, right? So she was basically, setting herself up for, the mental institution for a few years and back on the street, which, she achieved for a good second until, obviously a wise psychologist came in and said, oh, hell no, you're out of here, back in jail. You're taking the medicine that there's nothing wrong with you. You're just bad. You're fucking bad seed, right? And so she's now where she belongs, and she's definitely going to get what's coming to her.
On April 28, Boyce denies a request from John Pryor to have the indictment against Chad dropped. The judge also denies a request from prosecutors to have a jury transported from Ada County to Fremont County for the trial and reaffirms proceedings will happen in Ada County. On May 2, prosecutors announce they will pursue the death penalty against Lori and ask Boyce to keep her trial together with Chad's. Boyce issues a response on May 26 reaffirming the trials will be held together in January 2023. In August, Lori appears in court smiling and wearing a band on her ring finger. She does not answer EastIdahoNews.com questions after the hearing about whether she misses her kids and if she still loves Chad. 2 weeks after the hearing, Lori's attorneys file a motion asking that cameras be banned from the courtroom. Prosecutors support the motion as EastIdahoNews.com joins with over 2 dozen other media outlets in opposition. A hearing is scheduled for Sept 15 on the matter. Colby Ryan, Lori's son, is arrested on Sept 3 in Maricopa County, Arizona on 2 charges of sexual assault. Less than a week later, the charges are dropped without prejudice, meaning the prosecutor can refile at a later date.
As of January 2023, the trial starts. And I understand they're seeking the death penalty for the murders of these children and the mother of the 5 children, which is Tammy Daybell, Chad Daybell's original wife. So hopefully they get it right. Hopefully, I do not support the death penalty. The Lord giveth, the Lord the way, blessed be the Lord. I mean, I don't support it. I think that, life in prison, I think these people should have to live with what they've done. They should have to every day wake up in that 5x5 hole on that hard ass bed and a porta potty in the corner and have to go out there and face all the people, just like themselves, just like them, that done evil stuff, and see how it works out for them, right? I mean, that's what they deserve. What I'm saying is the death penalty is too easy. It's too easy for people like that. It's just too easy. And I think that, we should leave it up to the Lord when He wants to take, right? And until then, they should have to, like I said, get up every day and think about what they did and look around them and understand that's why they're where they're at that particular time. What I'm saying is those children suffered before they died, right? Those bastards should suffer a little also. And what better way to suffer than being in prison? There you go. Having the freedom, having stripped from them the very reason they did that shit. The freedom to just run around and do whatever they wanted to do. Yeah, absolutely. Them poor children did not deserve what they went through, The poor children were laying in that cold, wet graves, and maybe one of them still alive for a long time, duct taped up like that, I mean, it was inhumane what they did to them two children. Inhumane. They wanted to talk about these babies having something dark in them. No, the ones that had something dark in them was these two bastards right there, living it up, while these three people had their lives taken away from them. The ones that should have been living wasn't. What should have been destroyed wasn't. And what shouldn't have been destroyed was. And that's the world we live in today, right? That's what we live in today. Where, what should be destroyed isn't, and what should not be destroyed is. That's sad. Like little Summer. Summer, had a life ahead of her and every right to live that life. And it was stolen away from her. These are this is an air shot of the farm of Chad Daybell's farm, where he likes to have a pet cemetery, right? He likes to play games too. Pet cemetery, where he puts humans as well. It's just bullshit. It's just bullshit. Kind of reminds you of what Jody Sue said, right? The answer lies with the dogs. Ain't that what she kept saying? The answer lies with the dogs. And they supposedly buried some dogs recently or something. I don't know. But it seems like the same scenario as Ben Hill Road. Evil fucking people. Evil, just evil people around. Evil people doing evil to goodness, to goodness. Summer was nothing but pure goodness. Them boys were nothing but pure goodness. But they was living in hell, right? They was living in hell. Just like these children. Living in hell. And that man's wife, she didn't see it coming. She had no idea how evil. She had 5 children with this man, been with him for years, right? And he took her out, You think you know somebody, you don't. You really don't. Actually, to be honest with you, that Chad Daybell reminds me a lot of Don B. I mean, I'm just saying. That's who he really reminds me of. There was a lot of people out there. This is the oldest brother that's still the one that's a criminal now. I'm holding Tylee. This is Tylee when she was a baby. And that's her with her dad. She was beautiful, right? This is all the people that was turned out for the vigils. Even the neighbor, even the neighbor said that, when they moved in, he thought that they were going to be good people, and how wrong he was, right? How wrong he was. He said he was so angry to have such a thing turn up in his backyard as these type of people and what they done. Hello, Mama Bear. And the oldest sister, Tylee, she was like a mom. She was like a mom to JJ. She really loved him, really cared about him, and so much. Actually, um, Lori Daybell pretty much made Tylee take care of JJ like it was her child, um, for years. And I mean, so much so, Kylie couldn't hardly even have any friends due to the fact um, Lori wanted her to, look over. Lori wanted to be the one like a teenager with all the freedom instead of letting her daughter have it, right? As she should have. She acted like she loved those kids, but yet she destroyed them. And, you know, I don't believe, the movie will try to lead you to believe that Lori was, that Lori was not wanting to make these choices. And I mean, the movie's like her version, right? To try to get out of the shit. But when you see the smile on her face, and the pictures of her and him in Hawaii and all, that movie's bullshit, right? Pure bullshit. That is Lori and her oldest son. A picture of her and her oldest son. That isn't JJ. That's her oldest boy. And that's her oldest boy in the pool playing with JJ. He did like the kids. He seemed to like his mom. The brother was the crazy one, right? Them two. Oh, that's her oldest son. It ain't her. It ain't him. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought I had the picture of the brother and her right there. Her and the first one, the brother, Alex Cox. Him and her were the two. They were the two. Actually, she was the mastermind of all of this below her. She was the mastermind of her, I believe, her own brother and the man's wife, which he was the mastermind of that one as well. The fourth husband, the third husband, and the sister. And who else? Who knows who else they might have been responsible for passing away? Like we don't know. Yes, this is the Lori Daybell case, um, where Lori Daybell decided, her and her brother there decided it would be smart to take out the fourth husband, which is Charles, and they got away with it. And from there, it escalated to um the third husband, the wife. Now the sister had a suspicious death claimed back in 1998. And that could have been because Lori was jealous of her sister. She may have, or the sister may have done something to her. I think that's where Lori's evilness started. And then she got her brother to help, you know, to convinced him to help her do all the rest of the evilness um from there. But these, I do truly believe that she had something to do with all of these. The fights there. Absolutely. I think she did something to cause her sister's death. I don't know what, but I'm sure it was something. And right there, these babies. Um, you know, I've got to say right here, these people had something to do with her by choice, right? They had something to do with her by choice. These are, except the sister. Um, but sister being 31, she probably had something to do with her by choice as well, right? So what I'm saying is these are all adults. These are all adults that could have, saved themselves. They could have saved themselves somehow if they wanted to. Um, but them two children, they didn't have a choice. You know, they didn't have a choice and all of that. It was from my understandings, they both agreed to take care of these children. Both of them agreed. And I'm going to tell you now, um, she's not crazy because crazy people, like the lady that drowned her kids in the bathtub, and she was still sitting there when I think she called her husband and told him she did it. And the police came in. Crazy people, crazy people when they do something because they think they're aliens or they think they're monsters or they think and they end up doing this kind of you know act upon someone. They're usually still there. They don't try to hide it or cover it up, right? They don't try to hide it or cover it up because they're out of their fucking mind when they're doing stuff like that. She was not out of her mind when she done these things because she was still collecting the money, the social security money. She was trying to collect the $1 million life insurance policy on her husband. I mean, you know, this bitch knew exactly what she was doing. There was nothing crazy about her. I mean, she's just pure fucking evil to the bone. To the bone. Hello, Blue Eyes. I just say they definitely offed these four people right here. I mean, there is no ifs, ands, or buts if they off these four, right? They definitely did that. And for that, like I said, they deserve whatever the law gives them, in my book. So, and look at them. You're telling me that, that she, is crazy. She did this. They did it because of, no, they did it for this right here. So they could be together, living life to its fullest on the insurance money, the kids' social security. That's what it is. That lazy ass bitch didn't ever work for nothing, and she didn't ever plan on working for nothing. Right there. Look at her. Really? She feels remorse or anything? No. And this is after her ass is arrested. You know, she's got mental issues. You know, I'm not saying she don't. She does. She's got mental issues. You know, um, I say she's a psychopath if you ask me. And I say that man, uh, he's actually probably one too. So you had two of them meeting up together. Nobody had a chance around them two because they both were fucking psychopaths. And they they enjoyed the dirty little secrets they had, you know, to tell on one another. Kind of like Don and Candus, you know. Um, I've got 7 alibis and Candus got none, right? Listen, you don't know Donnie. He might not have been at work. Them two. Two idiots. That's what that reminds me of. It absolutely reminds me of them. And there's a lot in the Daybell case. The only thing, the only reason I'm bringing it up is because January of 2023, which is only a few months away, they're actually going to go. We're going to get to go through the trail with them. We're going to be able to see, exactly what our court system, is going to do with them, right? We're going to get a real insight on how good or how bad our court system is. I hope they make an example out of these two bastards because, these parents killing their children, um, killing one another for one reason or another, has got to stop. Something's got to slow it down. And there's no better way to slow down a crime, making people out of an example that have been doing that crime, right? What I'm saying is, if, somebody jaywalks across the road and they was to get a $500 ticket and, um, 30 days in jail or 60 days in jail or 90 days in jail, then people wouldn't want to jaywalk, right? They say, oh man, I ain't jaywalking. I ain't doing 90 days in jail and a $500 fine. That's crazy. I ain't going to do it. That's the best way to keep people from jaywalking. And what I'm saying is, it goes the same with any crime. If people start seeing the parents, get life in prison or even worse, because even though people will kill people, they don't want someone killing them, which is the death penalty. They stop, right? They would remember all of these parents that are, getting and say, yeah, I'm not going to do this shit. You know, my kids getting on my nerves. I don't want to put up with them anymore. I'm going to do, I'm going to do what smart people do. I'm going to go dump them on grandma and grandpa, or I'm going to dump them on their dad or their mom, or I'm going, I'm going to just let Child Protective Services take them, somebody else raise them, and hey, I'll come back in their life when they're grown, right? Um, I can't deal with it. But I ain't going to prison. I ain't going to do something stupid and go to prison for it just because, I don't want to put up with them anymore. So, you know, um, that's what they'll start doing because they don't want to spend life in prison, and they don't, sure in the hell don't want, you know, their life took, even though they took someone else's. I mean, when I'm trying, what I find in this world is people the most afraid to be killed or die are the ones actually killing people. They're the big fucking cowards, but they'd be the first to hurt somebody. It's crazy, right? That's what I'm talking about. And I would think if you're that big of a fucking coward that you don't want your own life took, you probably shouldn't be taking anyone else's. I hope they poop in still toilets. That is cold. As they're going to be doing it for the rest of their life. Yeah, that's true, Molly. That's funny. That's funny. Exactly. Make an example of them. That's what I say. You know, let that ass rot for eternity. You know, they need to make. They should make a um pedo island where they lock up all the pedos, right? And I hope it's a good island where they could grow food, because if they can't grow food, then their asses starve to death. That's what I'm talking about. They should send them out there on a fucking boat and not ever go back. However the hell you want out there, right? Damn sickos. And Deborah, out of whose parents? Or out of whose parents? I mean, Kylie's dad dad is um, deceased, and the mom's in prison for what she did to Kylie and JJ. Um, JJ's grandparents have come out and spoken. I couldn't find nothing on JJ's original mom or dad um in speaking out. If that's what you're talking about. I haven't been able to find anything on them speaking out. No. As for Don and Candace Wells, Donald speaks out a little bit from prison. Candace is hiding like the piece of shit she is, right? I mean, she came out last time I heard anything out of Candace. I mean, as far as the YouTube world goes, out here in the YouTube world, um, was when she was looking out of some fucking cave she was in. You could see the outside, the light where she was, outside from where she was back. What looked to me to be a cave of some sort. But, you know, other than that, she didn't use her YouTube to, put up beautiful pictures of her daughter with the song over it. She didn't use her YouTube to put up, lost or missing, help me find my child, um, with Summer's picture on it. And she didn't put up, anything worth, well, I can't say that because it was worth looking at if the fucking law really blew it up and looked it over. It was worth looking at because that could have told them where Summer is. So I'm not going to say it wasn't worth looking at. Yeah, the grandparents, I do too, Blue Eyes. I absolutely do. That grandmother couldn't even stand up, and the grandfather was so weak himself, he had to actually sit down with her when they found out, right? It was freaking horrifying. It was really horrifying. They really loved that little boy, and they absolutely loved them children. I think that yes, I think Dombey was. Um, I think he was. You know, I scaring Candace as in, oh my gosh, you know, oh my goodness, he might hurt me, he might do something to me. I'm afraid. And fuck no. Because I know Candace, and I'm gonna tell you something. That's a homeless bitch. She ain't afraid of nobody or nothing. When you're used to living on the streets, and I mean, she picks a homeless man up and brings her to her house. She brings Jose in her house. You don't know him from fucking Adam, and lets him move in, right? I mean, this ain't a woman that's afraid of shit. So she don't want to give me I'm afraid story of Don B. Look at Don B. Who's afraid of Don B? That's crazy. But afraid, afraid as in, she wants to be free to, you know, go where she wants to go, do what she wants to do without being seen. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we all know she was in a dark cave because we could see the daylight outside of it, right? So, yeah, absolutely. She's worried about her whereabouts, you know, not anybody hurting her physically. She's worried about her whereabouts and and that being put out here to we the people and law enforcement. Yeah, that's what she's scared of. Oh, Lori's parents. Um, no, I ain't heard. I ain't heard. You're right. I didn't check into them. I will, Deborah. Um, I'll look into it and yeah. I didn't find anything on her parents as well or speaking out. No. I don't even know if they're still alive. She's pretty old, ain't she? I don't even know if she has any parents. Yeah, just Mike. How are you doing tonight, sweetie? Oh wow. Yeah, I wanted to bring this case out because it did catch my attention and it did remind me so much of the Wells. Absolutely of the Wells. I had some more um update on, um the findings and so forth and so on. Um, put a one in the chat if you want me to play the rest of what I have tonight on this case, or or I can hold it till next Sunday, um, to bring it up. Put a one in the chat if you'd like to for me to pull the rest of the other part of it is actually um what happened to the children, and so forth. Okay, I'll bring it up then.
This story previously aired on October 3, 2020. It was updated on May 29, 2021. 48 Hours and correspondent Jonathan Vigliotti detail the investigation into the heartbreaking national search for two missing children, the life of their mother Lori Vallow, and what is ahead in the case against Vallow and her new husband Chad Daybell, have each been indicted on murder charges for the deaths of Tylee Ryan and J.J. Vallow. By the time the remains of 7-year-old J.J. Vallow and his 16-year-old sister Tylee Ryan were found buried in shallow graves on Chad Daybell's property in June 2020. They had become
7 years old and 16 years old. 7 and 16. Can you imagine someone killing you? 16, sweet 16, sweet 16, and they end up killing you. Wow. That's horrible, right? And 7 years old. 7 years old is just the age when you're getting to know everything, right? That you're even in this world real well. And right when the little boy's realizing, able to realize he's really into this world, he's taken out. How the fuck does people do this?
Two of the most famous missing children in America. Everyone wanted to know what happened to them. No one wanted this. When I think of Tylee and JJ, I just think of fun and love. They both had unconditional love for each other. I'll always remember them like that, said Tylee's best friend Vaisha Iteho. Investigative reporter and CBS News consultant Morgan Lau has covered this story since the beginning. Morgan Lau, what happened to those kids is horrendous. Morgan Lau, in 30 years, I've never covered a story quite like this. This one sticks, this one is bad. Investigators at Chad Daybell's preliminary hearing in August 2020 described in chilling detail finding the remains of the two children in Daybell's backyard. JJ's grandparents, Kay and Larry Woodcock, could barely contain their grief as they listened. A warning, what you are about to read may be disturbing. They started by removing a top layer of earth on a 4-foot by 2-foot patch of grass that was shorter than the rest. Det re hermoso, they began pulling up the sod and topsoil, which revealed 3 large white rocks, flat rocks. Beneath the rocks, they found thin pieces of wood paneling. Below that, a layer of black plastic. Morgan Lau, one of the crime scene investigators, cut a hole in the top of this plastic, and beneath the black plastic, some white plastic, like plastic bag. And they cut through that. Rob Wood, Madison County/City of Rexburg Deputy Prosecuting Attorney, and what did you observe when they did that? Det re hermoso, I observed what looked to be brown human hair. Morgan Lau. The same color hair as J.J. Vallow.
Now, JJ, the little boy, he was wrapped in duct tape from his head to his feet. And they believe that when they put him in there, he was still alive.
Det re hermoso, it was what appeared to be a small body tightly wrapped in black plastic, covered in duct tape. It was JJ. Morgan Lau, a second team of investigators were searching a different part of the yard. This is an area the Daybell family called the pet cemetery. Morgan Lau, they dug up a cat. They dug up a dog. But as they dug further, they found some things that were strange. They found a melted bucket. Det re hermoso, under the bucket was a partial human skull. What turned out to be the remains of Tylee Ryan. Morgan Lau, because of the condition of Tylee's remains, it's hard to tell what happened to her. The only thing we can know for sure is that, at one point, whoever did this, dismembered her body and burned it. The thought of Tylee ending up that way was almost too much for Echo Idaho to bear. Jonathan Vigliotti, CBS News correspondent, how did you hold it together? Echo Idaho, I didn't hold it together at all. Yet, I didn't hold it together at all. I'm still not holding it together. Neither is Echo Idaho's daughter Vaisha, one of Tylee's best friends. Tylee Tyan and Vaisha Idaho. Best friends Vaisha Idaho and Tylee Ryan. Vaisha Idaho, I just always had that hope that they were alive. I never even considered that they weren't. 'Cause I didn't want to. The discovery of the children in Chad Daybell's backyard was the result of a complicated 6-month investigation that unraveled a sordid tale of murder, greed and religious fanaticism, a story that began with their mother, Lori Vallow, who, to her friend April Raymond, was a woman who once seemed incapable of harming her own children. April Raymond, she did everything for JJ, everything for Tylee. They were the center of her world. And so, I'm not sure what hijacked that priority. Charles and Lori Vallow. K. Woodcock. April Raymond met Lori in 2015 in Hawaii. At the time, Lori was married to businessman Charles Vallow. The couple was raising 2 children, Tylee, Lori's teenage daughter from a former marriage, and their adopted son JJ, the grandson of Charles's sister Kay Woodcock. JJ had autism and Lori seemed the ideal mother for him, says Raymond. April Raymond JJ was very difficult to take care of. So, I really admired how patient she was with him and how much care she took of him. But it was Tylee's bond with JJ that Vaisha will always remember. Vaisha Idaho, I loved being around JJ and Tylee. Tylee was really protective over JJ. And she was kind of like another mama to him. I just kind of loved how she would just play with him and just always have, like, a really good time with him. And I really love JJ. He's the sweetest soul I've ever met. But around 2017, friends say Lori's relationships with her kids began to shift about the time she started reading the books of Chad Daybell. Daybell was a former gravedigger turned novelist and podcaster from Rexburg, Idaho, who say was something of a local cult leader, says Morgan Lau. He tapped into this prepper element out there, people who wanted to prepare for Armageddon. Daybell was married. He and his wife Tammy had 5 children. He reportedly believed he had numerous past lives and could talk to angels.
Daybell had 5 children, and you know what? He still has 5 children, right? Exactly, Jess. He wasn't going to do anything to his children, right? But he didn't care to destroy somebody else's.
He also claimed he could read light and dark auras. Chad Daybell.
That crappy ass bastard. Oh, he could read. No. You can see. There is people that can see good or bad auras around someone. Read them. He's a dumbass.
Chad Daybell, a former gravedigger turned author, podcaster, and doomsday prophet, was a married father of 5.
He was a doomsday prophet, all right. He was causing all the damn doom, right?
Facebook. Morgan Lau. Chad had this belief that some people who were on this earth weren't really the people they were supposed to be. They were zombies. Their souls had left them. An evilness took over their bodies. And the only way to release their spirits to heaven was to kill the bodies. Sometime in 2018, Lori met Chad Daybell and spent time with him away from her family. Visha Iteho, she was a fan of his writing. And when she actually got to talk with him, it, just escalated from there.
She was not a fan of his, well, she was a fan of what he wrote, because what he wrote would give her an excuse to be the evil bitch she was. And then if something came down, she would be able to claim, this particular scenario as the reason she was doing her fucking evilness that she had contemplated and premeditated way before she even met this guy, right? I mean, this woman, had done, he was everything she'd been looking for, a way out. And the same way, with her brother, she was having her brother do all the dirty work, hoping that, if it came down, it would go on him and she would just, play the innocent victim there, right? Didn't work out the way she thought it would.
Lori started doing podcasts with Daybell and began telling people she was a supernatural being appointed by God to lead the 144,000 chosen into the millennium. She also believed she had been appointed another, more ominous role, said Raymond. April Raymond, part of her mission on Earth was to eliminate the darkness, the demonic, the evil. April Raymond says Lori told her one of those evil beings was her own husband Charles Vallow. April Raymond, the way she had explained it to me about Charles was that Charles was already dead. And that there was a demon living inside of him. Officer Dorenbush, Gilbert Police Department, what did she say yesterday? Charles Vallow, she said, you're not Charles. I don't know who you are, what you did with Charles. Charles was so spooked by Lori he went to the police. Their conversation was recorded on the officer's body cam.
And if the police would have listened, Charles would still be here, right? And those babies, and a few other people. But see, that's the problem, is the police don't want to listen. They don't want to take nothing serious that needs to be taken serious, right? Because they have so much unserious shit coming at them that they don't know how to cipher between the differences anymore, right? That's their problem.
Charles Vallow, he thinks she's a resurrected being and a god. Morgan Lau, Charles. He was worried about his safety and the safety of his children. Officer Doran Bush, okay. So, what makes her a danger to herself and to others? Charles Vallow, she threatened me, murder me, kill me. Officer Doran Bush, she threatened to murder you? Charles Vallow, yes. In the winter of 2019, Charles Vallow changed the beneficiary of his $1 million life insurance policy from Lori to his sister Kay Woodcock, JJ's biological grandmother. Charles Vallow. On January 31, 2019, Charles Vallow is seen on police body cam video tell officers his wife had become unhinged, and had threatened to murder him. Gilbert Police Department. After almost 13 years of marriage, Charles Vallow filed for divorce. Charles Vallow, she's unhinged. It scared the crap out of me. Charles Vallow had good reason to be scared. A deadly premonition. By the summer of 2019, Charles Vallow had gone to the police twice claiming there was something desperately wrong with his estranged wife Lori Vallow. Charles Vallow, psychologically, she's gone. Something's happened to her. But no one acted on it and Vallow let his guard down. On the morning of July 11th, he went to Lori's rental home in Chandler, Arizona, to pick up JJ and take him to school. Morgan Vallow, he goes into the house. Lori and Tylee and JJ are there, and so is Alex Cox. Alex Cox, Lori's brother. Morgan Vallow, Alex was Lori's protector. He never hesitated to resort to violence if he believed he was defending his sister. Within an hour of entering the house that morning, Vallow was lying on the floor in a pool of blood, shot in the chest by Alex Cox. At 8:36 a.m. Cox calmly called 911. 911 dispatcher, is he breathing? Alex Cox, I can't tell. Morgan Vallow, he said, I need to report a shooting. I shot my brother-in-law in self-defense. 911 dispatcher, and is he hurt? Or is he alive, or? Alex Cox, yeah, there's blood. He's not moving. The police arrived and shot video of Cox on the curb outside the home. Alex told them Charles and Lori got into a fight. Chandler police officer, so, you get in an argument? What is it over? Alex Cox, well, it was over my sister. He was getting physical with her. Cox says Tylee came out of her room with a bat. Alex Cox, she came out to defend my sister with her bat. Cox said Vallow grabbed the bat from Tylee and came at him. Daybell Cox. Chad Cox talks with police after shooting Charles Vallow. Chandler Police Department. Alex Cox. And he hit me in the back of the head with the bat. So, I went to my room and got my gun, 'cause I always carry it. Cox says he came back and shot Charles Vallow dead. Tylee, who had gone outside with JJ, and Lori, who says she was in another room, both said they heard the shooting but didn't see it. Lori later told police that she walked past Vallow on the floor and went outside. Morgan Vallow, Lori, at that point, takes JJ to school. And she comes back later with Tylee. The police blurred Tylee's face, because she was a minor. Police officer, hi, who are you? Okay, just stand over there for just a second, guys. Morgan Vallow, what was striking about the footage that we saw was that there's no remorse. There's no, oh, my gosh, my husband's dead. Daybell Lori. A smiling Lori Vallow on police body cam video after learning her husband was dead. Chandler Police Department. Police officer, how long have you lived here? Lori Vallow, like 3 weeks. Police officer, oh geez, yeah, okay. Lori Vallow, that's, the neighbors don't know us very well. Police officer, gotcha. Lori Vallow, like, hi neighbors, sorry. Police officer, are you working at all? Lori Vallow, no. Lori, Alex, and Tylee were questioned at the police headquarters. All told similar stories of self-defense and were sent home. In a troubling sign of the deception to come, Lori told a completely different story to JJ's school, Lawrence Institute for Education or Life. Margaret Trevelyan, Life co-founder, our administrator, came into my office. And she was like, Margaret, you're not gonna believe this. Lori just told us that Charles committed suicide last week. I can only say it didn't feel right.
She said Charles committed suicide last week. Basically what, like the Wells. It was a game, right? She was saying he committed suicide. Came into my house, right? He just walked right in and got done to him what they planned to do, right? She called it suicide, let down his guard. There you go. Just asses, right? Asses.
They Googled Charles Vallow's name and learned the truth. Margaret Trevelyan, it just didn't make any sense. Why would you tell us he committed suicide last week and he's been gone for 2 weeks and he was actually shot by your brother? What is happening? A month later, Lori told them she got a new job in California, and sent an email saying she was taking JJ out of school. Jonathan Vigliotti, what did you think when you read that email? Margaret Trevelyan, that. It made sense. They wanted to start over. They wanted to start fresh. It was a fresh start, all right, but not in California. Around September 1, 2019, Lori, Tylee and JJ moved into a townhome in Rexburg, Idaho, not far from where Chad Daybell lived with his wife, Tammy. Lori's brother, Alex Cox, the man she considered her protector, moved into the same complex. Morgan Lau, Lori sort of viewed Alex as the destroyer of bad things in her eyes. He was there to take care of the problems. It appears the first problem was a 16-year-old girl, Tylee Ryan. Morgan Lau, we know that in the spring of 2019, Lori started referring to Tylee as a zombie, to at least one of her close friends. One of those close friends was April Raymond. April Raymond, and she had described Tylee as having a dark spirit. Daybell kids. J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan at Yellowstone National Park on September 8, 2019. At right is their mother's brother Alex Cox. FBI. Tylee spent what's believed to be the last day of her life at Yellowstone National Park with Lori, JJ, and Alex. Investigators were able to piece together what happened after this photo was taken thanks to Alex Cox. His cell phone left a digital map. Around 6:45 p.m. that evening, they left Yellowstone and drove back to the apartment complex in Rexburg. Morgan Lau, that night, we know Alex was in his own apartment. And then, police tracked his cell phone to Lori's apartment at 2:45 in the morning on September 9. He's there for a couple of hours. Then he goes back to his apartment, and then, after 9 in the morning, his cell phone appears in Chad Daybell's backyard. Morgan Lau, he was at that property for over 2 hours that morning. At 11:53 a.m., after Alex Cox left the backyard, Chad Daybell wrote a text to his wife Tam, who wasn't home, explaining why there was a new grave in the pet cemetery. That message reads in part, "Well, I've had an interesting morning. I spotted a big raccoon along the fence. I hurried and got my gun. One shot did the trick. He is now in our pet cemetery. Fun times." That pet cemetery just behind a bush where investigators found the charred remains of Tylee Ryan. The big sister who used to watch over her little brother was no longer there to protect him. The widower and the widow. If there is a picture book that captures the J.J. Vallow educators at Life School came to love, Margaret Trevelyan says it's this one, "Wherever you are, my love will find you." Margaret Trevelyan, if you're working or playing or sitting with friends, you can dance till you're dizzy. And JJ loved dancing. Paint till you're blue. And JJ loved blue. There's no place, not one, that my love can't find you. J.J. Vallow. J.J. Vallow. Life. JJ's teacher Julia Allen says he made a big impression in a small amount of time. Julia Allen, he was a spitfire, for sure. He had a lot of energy. When JJ was there, you knew he was there. When the little boy who loved to dance first came to life, a school for special needs students, he was the very different child than when he left, says Trevelyan. Margaret Trevelyan, and I literally remember coming into the classroom in the beginning and him just being very closed off, to the later part of him being with us, just to miss Margaret. Margaret Trevelyan, and just that growth of watching him come out of himself was just wonderful. And it was just the beginning. Margaret Trevelyan, I just get so angry. 'Cause he had so much possibility. And so much potential. And he had so much love, so much
Yes. They are both in prison right now. Lori was in a mental institution for a while, hoping she could stay there, I guess, but not. She got sent, deemed being competent to stand trial, and they sent her on over there to the prisons. And as of January 2023, that's when the trial starts for both of them. For both of them, they've been fighting. They've been fighting because the Chad Daybell's lawyers do not want the two cases combined into one, which that's the way it is right now. And they wanted to separate them, hoping it would give him a better chance, you know, of getting away with more. But they declined to allow that to happen because of the two children. They want them to not be separated, and both of them go through it at the same time. So we'll be watching that on January of 2023. And that's why I brought this case out too, is because I think it's super important that, we stand behind these children and make sure that, the systems, that our court system and our law enforcement knows that we are watching us and, supporting these children. And they better be doing what they need to do with these people doing this kind of shit to our children, right? That's what I want them to know. And the same with Summer. That's why we keep her name out here. We keep her name alive and her in the spotlight, is because we want, law enforcement and our court systems to understand that, you know, if we already have pretty much figured out what happened to Summer, then their asses need to be figuring it out and doing something about it, right? That's what we do here. That's what we do. Is let law enforcement know that we people, all of us, stand behind these children, and we're tired of it, and we want these laws changed. We want stiffer penalties for these people doing this kind of thing, right? That's what we want them to know.
Much love. All that potential.
Oh, and I also wanted to tell you, um, when it came to Tylee, Tylee, um, they believe that it's a possibility that yes, they dug a spot for her in the back of that yard to put her in, but they may have been keeping her in that um, storage that they rented for a while. They think she could have possibly been being held at that storage for a time before she actually was put where they dug that hole. Actually, for all I know, she could have been in the storage all the way up until they did what they did to JJ, right? We're not sure when they put her in the ground.
All that love gone. Wiped out in late September 2019, roughly 2 weeks after the big sister he adored disappeared. Melanie Gibb and her boyfriend David Warwick, both of whom testified at Daybell's hearing, were staying with Lori in Rexburg the last weekend of JJ's life. They saw him several times during their stay. Rob Wood, where was he located when you saw him? Melanie Gibb, he was in the family room mostly, and then outside some. Daybell Lori. Melanie Gibb, left, and Lori Daybell. Sometime between 9 p.m. and midnight on September 22, the last night of their visit, Lori, Melanie, and David were in the kitchen doing a religious podcast when Alex Cox appeared. Melanie Gibb, he brought JJ into the house during the middle of the...
What is a religious podcast? And why were they involved in it, right? I mean, is there a podcast out there that believes in walking zombies? We'll have to research that one.
Podcast. Rob Wood, how did Alex Cox bring JJ into the house? Melanie Gibb, he carried him in, and he was asleep. Gibb and Warwick testified that Cox put JJ to bed in Lori's room. But the little boy was nowhere to be seen the next morning. Lori explained why. David Warwick, she said that he was being a zombie and climbed up on the cabinets, climbed up on top of the fridge, smashed her picture of Christ down. And then climbed up onto the upper cabinets and got between the top of the cabinet and the ceiling. Rob Wood, okay. And then what did she tell you? David Warwick, I asked to see him, and she just said that he was out of control, so she had Alex come and get him. Police learned what happened to JJ by once again following Alex Cox's cell phone. At 9:55 am on September 23, 2019, Cox returned to Chad Daybell's backyard. But this time he was only there for 17 minutes. Chad Daybell. Chad Daybell was a grave digger for a profession when he was younger. That's an awful coincidence, reporter Morgan Lau said of the children's bodies being found buried in Daybell's backyard. Julie Rowe. Morgan Lau, somehow, in 17 minutes, there was a grave dug and filled in. That's not possible. Somebody else must have helped with that. This is Chad Daybell's backyard. Chad Daybell was a grave digger for a profession when he was younger. That's an awful coincidence. At Chad Daybell's preliminary hearing, Detective Ray Ermos.
Who would want him digging a grave for their loved one, right? Whoa.
CO testified the child was covered head to toe in duct tape. Det Ray Hermosillo, he had duct tape continuously wrapped from elbow all the way around his arms, over his hands, all the way to his right elbow. Morgan Lau, why do you bind somebody's feet and hands and mouth in duct tape? You do it to keep them from yelling or talking. The way they found that body leads you to believe that JJ was still alive. Because you don't go through all that trouble to somebody who's already dead. It's the last moments of the children's lives that keeps Echo up at night. Echo Iteho, I just can't bear the thought of Tylee being scared and JJ being scared or knowing what was happening and by who. I just can't bear that thought. By the end of September 2019, Lori had a dead husband, Charles Vallow, and though no one yet knew it, 2 dead children. Now the cold glare of death would shift focus to Chad Daybell's family. Roughly 1 month after JJ's death, Chad's 49-year-old wife Tammy Daybell died mysteriously in her sleep. 2.5 weeks.
See, it sounded like he wanted to make sure that Lori Daybell had gotten rid of those children and the parents of those children who would be inquiring on where they're at, right? Now he's going to step up to do something.
Weeks later, the widower and the merry widow wed in Hawaii. Benjamin Hyde has known Chad Daybell since the 2 men were missionaries together when they were 19. Jonathan Vigliotti, what went on in your mind when, weeks after Tammy died, Chad and Lori get married? Benjamin Hyde, that was the number one thing that told me something was horribly wrong. 2 weeks after she died, he gets remarried? That was such a huge red flag to me. Jonathan Vigliotti, what did you think when you saw the photos of Chad and Lori? In Hawaii, the ukulele in hand. All smiles. Benjamin Hyde, that gives me the willies, look at this. That's a real thing. It is horrifying. But the horror was just beginning to unfold. The world finds out the children are missing. Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow's hula dancing days were numbered. Soon after the newlyweds returned to Rexburg from Hawaii, JJ's grandmother, Kay Woodcock, sounded the alarm. Morgan Lau, Every
They were sure living it up, wasn't they? Look at them. How can you do what they did? And what kind of mind does these people have? Unbelievable, right? I wonder if they're going to look like that for life in prison, right? Um, you think they got new partners to dance with now?
time Kay Woodcock would call, there would be a different excuse about where the kids were. And finally, she had heard enough excuses. She finally reached out to the police. On November 26, 2019, 2 months after JJ was last seen, Rexburg police came knocking on Lori's door, looking for the little boy. Police officer, so, we're here. Lori Vallow, wow, this is a big mess, I just talked to the guy on the phone. The court released an audio-only version of that conversation. Lori goes from saying people are out to get her, I just feel like I'm being tracked all the time. Like, why are police coming my door, to that big life insurance payout Kay Woodcock got from Charles Vallow. Lori Vallow, my husband, switched his life insurance policy to her right? To his sister, who got $1 million when he died. And
that right there, that's the best thing that cracks me up. Listen to this lady. This lady's so freaking freaked out about that $1 million, right? I mean, that's all she could. I am surprised. I am surprised that she didn't think or try to do something to the sister, right? Wow. Lucky that didn't cross her mind.
we got nothing for me to raise JJ. Lori finally gets around to JJ. Lori Vallow, he's in Arizona. LT Ron Ball Rexburg Police Department, who's he with in Arizona? Lori Vallow, he's with one of my friends in Arizona. Ron Ball, who's the friend he's with? Lori Vallow, my friend Melanie. He's called that friend in Arizona, Melanie Gibb, to verify Lori's story, but she did not respond to their call. When the police returned to Lori's home, she embellished her story even more. Lori Vallow, well, they were going to Frozen 2 today, so they may be at the movies. Unidentified person number 1, could you get a hold of her at some point and say, can you please call back the officer that's been trying to call you? Lori Vallow, okay, sure. Because I think they are at the movies right now. Daybell. Melanie Gibb testified, she asked me just to pick up my phone and take a picture of random kids to make it look like it was JJ. Pool/court TV. In court, Melanie Gibb described,
She's lucky she didn't pick up her phone and take pictures of some random kids because that would have put her in the hot seat along with all of them, right? She would have been an accessory to that crime. That's what she would have been.
getting a call from Lori asking her to back up the Frozen story. Melanie Gibb. And that she told the police that I had JJ, that I was at a movie called Frozen, that she asked me just to pick up my phone and take a picture, random picture of kids running around. Rob Wood, what did she ask you to do with that, again? Melanie Gibb, take a picture of random kids to make it look like it was JJ. Lori told Gibb she was hiding JJ because he was in danger. And his grandmother Kay Woodcock was the threat. Rob Wood, okay, what did she say about Kay? Melanie Gibb, she said that Kay was trying to kidnap JJ. Rob Wood, after these phone calls, how did that make you feel? Melanie Gibb, horrible. I felt in shock. I was not okay with it because she told something to the police that was not true. So, I had a really bad feeling in my stomach, and I felt very shaken up by it. So, shook up, she called Lori and Chad 12 days later and secretly recorded it. Chad Daybell phone call, Hello, sweet Melanie. Melanie Gibb, hi Chad. Hey Lori. How are you guys? Lori Vallow, we're okay. How are you doing, babe? Melanie, I'm doing pretty good, thanks. Morgan Lau, that taped phone conversation is when you can hear Chad and Lori go from, oh, yeah, everything's great, to that change where, okay, we've got a problem here. Melanie Gibb, is JJ safe? Lori Vallow, he is safe and happy. Melanie Gibb, I'm just worried for you guys because, he's missing and, Lori Vallow, I know exactly where he is. He's perfectly fine. Morgan Lau, I think what Lori didn't bank on was that Melanie had a conscience and Melanie is really worried about what happened. Lori Vallow, I don't know why you're being controversial to me or if you're recording this conversation for the police or whatever. I don't know what your intention is on this phone call. But I love you with all my heart, and I have forever, and I will always love you. Melanie Gibb, I appreciate those words, but if you really love me, you wouldn't have told the police that I had JJ with me. That's not what a friend does. Lori Vallow Daybell and JJ Vallow. Lori Vallow Daybell and JJ Vallow at Yellowstone National Park on September 8, 2019. FBI. Gibb handed that secret recording to authorities, and investigators launched a nationwide search, but not just for JJ. It was then that they realized his sister Tylee was also missing. Morgan Lau, everybody was hoping in the back of their minds that maybe there was a chance the kids were alive. Back then, the only two people who didn't seem concerned were Lori and Chad. Instead of helping search, they skipped off to another vacation back in Hawaii. Morgan Lau, they're in this Hawaii vacation. It's like not a care in the world. Reality and justice were not far behind. Police in Hawaii searched Lori's rental car looking for evidence of the kids. And on January 25, 2020, she was formally served an order to produce Tylee and JJ within 5 days. She ignored it and was arrested on the island of Kauai on child abandonment charges. Chad showed his support in the courtroom as Lori was extradited to Rexburg, Idaho. Daybell. Where are your kids? How come you're not telling anybody where your kids are? Investigative reporter Morgan Lau asks Lori Vallow Daybell on March 5, 2020, as she was extradited from Hawaii to Rexburg, Idaho, to face child abandonment charges. With Lori now in jail, Chad Daybell returned home. Morgan Lau, I don't know that regular people could begin to understand how he could live in that house. All the while those kids were buried 50 feet away in the backyard. Soon his secret was out. Police had followed Alex's Cox's cell phone data to the children's graves, and on June 9, 2020, Chad Daybell was arrested. But what about the man who led them to Daybell's backyard? Alex Cox, Lori's brother, incredibly, had also died. He dropped dead 6 months before JJ and Tylee were found. Morgan Lau, the medical examiner, performed an autopsy on Alex Cox and found that he died of natural causes. And with Alex Cox went a whole incredible amount of potential information that investigators could have used on this case. Lori and Chad Daybell were charged with the same crime, conspiracy to commit destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence. But not everyone believes they played equal parts. Some believe Chad Daybell was the driving force, others believe it was Lori. Jonathan Vigliotti, Lori hasn't been convicted of anything yet. Do you think she played an active role in the deaths of her children? April Raymond, I feel like it's difficult to conceive of a scenario where she didn't. It just seems very unlikely. The evidence of course will speak for itself. I can't conceive of a scenario where she wasn't involved. Saying goodbye. While JJ was missing, no one at his old school spoke his name as if that somehow made it less real.
Um, yes, she was smiling in court a whole lot. She was smiling. She was smiling when they arrested her and put her in the back of the cruiser, right off the plane when they expedited her back, from Hawaii. She was smiling. This lady's like, she thought she was going to get away with it. She thought, she believes in her attorneys, and yeah, but the smell is starting to go off her face, right? And she looking old as hell and up and everything else, right? Um, I can only imagine what she's going to look like, um, after the trial here coming up in January 2023.
They tied yellow ribbons around the trees and waited for his return. Then came the news that he was never coming back. Margaret Trevelyan, Life co-founder, I just started crying. I really thought he was coming home. Julia Allen, JJ's teacher, there was this feeling at Life when the remains were found. Kind of a heaviness on the campus. Because so many people were affected. It was in every classroom, in every environment. After months of silence, they started speaking JJ's name. And couldn't stop. Margaret Trevelyan, because he was amazing. And we were grateful that we were chosen to share and to be part of his life for the time that we did. And now, we're gonna talk about it. We're going to do it for JJ. The whole school turned out to celebrate the little boy who loved to dance. Margaret Trevelyan, we're gonna talk about JJ dancing in heaven. Because, by golly, he has to be dancing in heaven. One of the many tributes to JJ and Tylee. D.N. Carter. It was one of many tributes to the two lost children. Tylee's friend Vaisha posted a kaleidoscope of memories online. Vaisha Iteho, she took beautiful pictures, so we would just go to the beach and just take pictures. And kind of capture certain moments. She was just so clever and always just like really quick comebacks. Like so witty. There were so many times that I would die laughing. April Raymond traveled from Utah to Rexburg, Idaho, where it all began. April Raymond, there were people from all walks of life at that memorial. And it didn't really matter our differences, but we were all there for Tylee and JJ. Daybell. Lori and Chad Daybell were charged with conspiracy to commit destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence. On May 25, 2021, they were formally charged with murder in the first degree in the deaths Tylee and JJ. Rexburg Police Department. 48 Hours reached out to Chad and Lori's attorneys to ask whether their clients had some involvement in the children's deaths. Lori's attorney had no comment and Chad's attorney did not respond. But the questions don't stop there. The body of Chad's wife, Tammy Daybell, has been exhumed and investigators are now calling her death suspicious. Authorities in Arizona are also investigating.
And I just
One of the
wanted
many
everybody to
tributes
take
to
note the
JJ and
picture
Tylee.
after this one.
D.N. Carter. It was one of many tributes to the two lost children. Tylee's friend Vaisha posted a kaleidoscope of memories online. Vaisha Iteho, she took beautiful pictures, so we would just go to the beach and just take pictures. And kind of capture certain moments. She was just so clever and always just like really quick comebacks. Like so witty. There were so many times that I would die laughing. April Raymond traveled from Utah to Rexburg, Idaho, where it all began. April Raymond, there were people from all walks of life at that memorial. And it didn't really matter our differences, but we were all there for Tylee and JJ. Daybell. Lori and Chad Daybell were charged with conspiracy to commit destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence. On May 25, 2021, they were formally charged with murder in the first degree in the deaths Tylee and JJ. Rexburg Police Department. 48 Hours reached out to Chad and Lori's attorneys to ask whether their clients had some involvement in the children's deaths. Lori's attorney had no comment and Chad's attorney did not respond. But the questions don't stop there. The body of Chad's wife, Tammy Daybell,
as you see, poisoned. Right there, poisoned. She was poisoned. Now, here's the thing. That shows that they were using drugs, right? That shows that they were using drugs to cause the death of these people. And as I said, the one guy having a heart attack, the other one with the blood clot in his lung. There is medications that can cause that as well. And I think that should have been further looked into. Um, no, I don't think it was natural causes at all on those two particular people. And I think law enforcement knows it, or else their pictures wouldn't be, you know, put up and all of these people lined up underneath Lori Vallow Daybell, right? Exactly. It was suspicious.
has been exhumed and investigators are now calling her death suspicious. Authorities in Arizona are also investigating the shooting death of Lori's former husband, Charles Vallow. Morgan Law. It appears that Chandler police believe Lori had something to do with Charles's death. They are investigating her for conspiracy to commit murder. Despite all of Lori's talk about demons inhabiting Charles's body, Morgan Law says her motive may have been more mundane, money. Morgan Law, we know that shortly after Charles's death, Lori tried to claim that life insurance policy. He had changed the beneficiary to his sister. We know that Lori was angry about that. So angry she was still talking about it when the Rexburg police first came to her door looking for JJ. Morgan Law, it's hard to discount the idea that $1 million life insurance policy would be a motive for a murder. But that doesn't explain the children. Jonathan Vigliotti, why do you think the children were murdered? April Raymond, I feel like they were a liability. Especially Tylee was a liability for what she knew. Remember, Tylee was there the day Charles Vallow was killed. At the time, she went along with the self-defense story, but could she have changed her mind? April Raymond, I feel like whatever story we were given about how Charles was killed was not the truth. And that Tylee knew the truth. And Lori thought that was a liability. In the end, Chad and Lori's belief in evil may prove to be true. But they got one thing wrong. Authorities believe it was they who embraced the darkness. And the children who embraced the light. Margaret Trevelyan, they say it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a community to raise one of our children, and JJ had a community. And he had so many people that loved him and wanted him. Tylee and JJ. K. Woodcock. April Raymond, Tylee had a network of people that really did love her, and I don't know if she knew that. I wish that she had known that there were people that really loved her. Even if her mother didn't. Vaisha Iteho, if I had one more day with JJ and Tylee, I would want them to know how much they did for me. And just let them know that I love them, and I've never met anyone like them. And I'll always remember them like that. On May 25, 2021, Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell were formally charged with murder in the first degree in the deaths Tylee and JJ. Chad Daybell was also charged with first-degree murder in the death of his former wife, Tammy Daybell.
Yeah, that is I agree. You know, I hope that they do something with them because this is, out of control. It's so out of control with people just, these evil humans today. They're so bold, right? They're so damn bold and thick-faced and bold, selfish and self-seekers, and they think that, they have some right to destroy other people and their lives. I mean, you know, is no, you don't, right? No, you don't. You absolutely don't have a right to. I mean, who was those two? Who were those? Who was those two people there to believe that they had some right to destroy so many humans? They had no right to, no more right taking those humans' lives than those humans had taken theirs, right? But for some reason, their mental capacity absolutely sucked, right? Look at them. Look at them, how they just, like they got, you know, some right to all of what they're doing there. After they minused his wife, 2 children, and a lot of other people, you know, off the list of living human beings. I mean, you can't just go around and murder people because you want to, because you feel that's the thing to do, because, you think somehow it's going to add to your life, freedom, money. It's insane, right? We got a law that says, you kill somebody, you go to prison for life, or else, you get the death penalty. That's what our law says. And if the law says it, even a greater law is the Bible. Thou shalt not kill. But man-made law says if you kill, you go to prison. And you possibly could get, the death penalty, right? So you don't have a right to do these things. It's wrong. They know it was wrong, but they thought that, they thought that they had some type of authority to do it without any repercussions. And I mean, could they have, could they have planned on blaming it all on her brother? I don't know. I have no idea. Um, like he was the one, he was the problem. I don't know what they were thinking. Did they think that nobody would ever find the kids? I mean, the grandparents were always, talking to JJ, right? And when he wasn't contacting them or talking to them anymore, of course they're going to, contact the authorities. And then the authorities are going to contact, um, the right people, Child Protective Services. They're going to go into the home to see if the children are there. And when you can't produce the children, then, there's going to be a problem. I mean, and then they give you a certain amount of time to produce the children. And that kind of, check should also be, that's why it's good to have family. That's why it's good to stay connected with your family. It's why it's good to, stay connected to good friends and neighbors and people around you, because you got these kind of sickos right here. If they think they could get away with doing something, they will do it, especially if you ain't got people that's going to, start looking for you, right? And I gotta wonder about Tylee. Why wasn't anyone looking for her? Why wasn't anyone questioning her? And that good old friend that went there and stayed in Tylee's bedroom. Oh, she went to college. That good old friend should have known that, most 16-year-old kids don't go off to college, because most 16-year-old kids ain't even out of high school yet. That was a big red flag that should have been questioned, right? But this lady doesn't question it. Why? Because she wants to stay connected and friends with these two fucking demons. So what does that tell us about her? I mean, I don't think I want to be her neighbor. I don't care what she says. She went there and stayed. She seen that, something was suspicious as hell. She didn't report anything. And then she lies to the police, for these people. So, and then obviously after she either thought about it, or somebody with some brains, you know, gave her the heads up, you're a moron. You're going to end up implicating yourself into something that could possibly lead your ass into prison. Oh, now she's going to come out and, you know, try to do the right thing to save her own ass. But in all reality, I think she was just as evil as they are, because she was going along with it for a minute, right? So there you go. Yeah, I agree, Molly Roberts. In the Kylie case, absolutely. There was 300 people there. Somebody had to see something, and it seems like nobody saw anything, right? Out of 300 people. And they're supposed to come out tomorrow. Tomorrow, Monday. Tomorrow, they're supposed to do a news briefing and let us know a little something, right? I don't know what they're going to let us know, but it's going to be something. And probably a bunch of bullshit because, you know, because they dropped the ball on that case, right? They dropped the ball. They didn't only couldn't find her. That law enforcement could not only find her from day one. I mean, it took outsiders that they called amateurs to come in and do a job that those professionals couldn't get done. But then on top of that, um, you know, they didn't handle everything right after that. Once the amateurs found her, as they wanted to call them, which is Avengers with Purpose, found them. I would say they were the professionals, right? But law enforcement, they like to think they are, when they can't get nothing done most of the time. But anyway, then they come in for the car and they don't seal the window. They lose all the evidence, right? Out the fucking window at the bottom of an ocean. What? Are you kidding me? And then another outsider has to come in and go to the bottom of the ocean to retrieve it. And then law enforcement don't even want to come and really pick it up, right? Why do you call me? There you go. Yeah, it is. It's a bunch of bullshit on that one. BS. Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree. That case just does nothing but pisses me off because at every turn, they're handling it wrong. They're dropping the ball on it. Um, and also, that place up there and the people involved are freaking just, I don't care what anybody says, fucking weird, right? They're just weird. They're kind of like this Daybell shit. You know, did you see their party celebration of life? Really? I didn't see I think a celebration of life. I think a celebration of life is like, you know, if you're going to do it for a deceased person, which I don't know very many people that do something like that, but if you're going to do it for a deceased person, you I would think that you're going to have baby photos and you know, like each milestone, right? You're going to have like pictures of each milestone. Um Celebrating, you know, the things and talking about all the things that they did in the years that they, from birth to the time they, went out of the world, all their accomplishments, their first steps, and bring their baby book. What I'm saying is, you know, and I didn't see a celebration of life for Kylie. I seen a freaking some kind of celebration of life for all these people. Like, thank God we're still here, right? It was a party. I I didn't even really hear Kylie's name mentioned in any of it. Very little did I hear. I mean, the mother made it more about her and the community than about Kylie, right? And don't forget how all the rest of us out here could take a fucking walk, right? Basically just fuck off. She might as well said. But yeah, I hate to say it, but that case really could, that case right there, Kylie's case, could really get a person upset. Just the way that, everything's been destroyed in the case. And it seems like it was destroyed purposely, right? Purposely. I don't like that. Oh yeah, sugar, absolutely. And that's true. The dad doesn't get along with the mom. That mom don't think right. There's something wrong with her mentally. There's something, I don't know if it's a delay or what, but there's something, that mother, that mother, she definitely has issues that she's dealing with, and one is, she don't know how to grow old gracefully, right? She don't even want to grow old. That's her problem. She wants to still think of herself as, you know, Kylie's age, some minor, and being a parent, you can't have a delayed brain like that because you are the adult in the situation and you need to be acting like the adult. Yeah, weird homeschool mom. She is, I don't know about homeschooling where they're at, um, homeschooling where they're at, they must make it, some kind of big deal or something. I mean, where I'm at, at where I'm at, homeschooling doesn't make you some role model. You homeschool due to the fact that you don't want your kids getting, you know, um, attacked at the school. You don't want them, you don't want them getting peer pressured into doing, you know, drugs and alcohol, and you don't want to end up with a problem on your hands. You homeschool, so you can keep your children on the right track, and you can a future. You homeschool because you actually want to see them drug free, alcohol free, going to college and becoming real humans in this life, doing God's will instead of, their own will. That's why, you should homeschool. If you're homeschooling, because it's just a fad in your community and a way to stick your nose up and be snobby, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons, right? That's just disgraceful and distasteful to me. Before she started, no, I'm going to tell you, before she started reading Chad's books and going to his convention, she was considered normal. No, that bitch wasn't ever normal. Trust me. Chad had nothing to do with that messed up freaking brain. She wasn't brainwashed by Chad, you know. Uh, Actually, if anything, she brainwashed him into what he did to his wife, if you ask me. That Lori Daybell was evil as hell, and that Chad Daybell was evil as hell. Both of them were evil. And, they wasn't evil they wasn't evil enough to beat that evil on their own. But once they got together, it's like putting two peas in a pot. Once they got together, one gave the other one the strength they needed to, you know, use that evilness in a way that they've always wanted to use it anyhow. There you go. I think that was two evil people that, it's like two kids. It's like two children looking at the cookie jar, right? They both want to get in that cookie jar. They both do. And if one supports the other one, you know, if one says, well, I'll take the blame, no, I'll take the blame, no, I'll take the blame, then, oh, well, let's just get in it. Because, they're both willing, right? They're both willing to take the risk of eating the cookies. What they did is they supported one another. They gave one another the support that they needed to get in there. But if it had just been the one on his own and don't want to get in trouble on his own, you know, and that's and that's the way it is, you know, and that's why people homeschool their kids. It's because when a kid goes out there, there's always those kids that ain't got enough ass to do it on their own. They're looking to pull somebody else's kid in on their their evilness. But yes, your child has to be evil to get, to go along with it. Absolutely. I mean, you know, they do. They, have to be just as bad to get in on it, right? Birds of a feather flock together. Yeah, and she controlled her brother. Absolutely, Molly. She controlled her brother to the fullest. I mean, her brother was a real, he was a psychopath for sure. The brother was a psychopath for sure. He loved what he was doing. That guy, he was the most dangerous one of all, to be honest with you. Um, he was the most dangerous one of all. And I think her and Chad knew it, and that's why he had to go, right? If they do it with you, they'd do it to you. They were getting worried about him. I mean, I think they were scared of him. They were scared of him. Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, too many deaths, right? Too many people. There ain't that many people falling dead unless something's freaking wrong, right? Absolutely. I mean, they didn't even have enough brains to space it out. They were, they was getting it done. I totally agree. Some people, you know, Chad and his pet cemetery seem to have a lot of room in it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, I think that's a little bit of why they took out um Ty Tylee as well, because she was getting around. I've got a cold, but she was getting around um friends. She was starting to have her friends. They were afraid that she was a liability, right? If she was to tell one of her little friends something, because Lori was wanting to go to church, and she told Tylee to watch JJ. And Tylee said, "I supposed to go out with my friend tonight. Did you forget?" She said, "Well, you'll have to make it another time. You need to watch JJ." And she said, "No, um, you know, you're part of this." And Lori said, "Well, you're part of this family." And she says, "So are you, and you can watch JJ. I'm going out." And that's when Lori realized she did not have control that she thought over, Tylee, and she needed control, right? She needed that control, and when she felt she didn't have it, she wanted to destroy him. So that was the problem. I think that she was afraid she was gonna um, start leaking stuff out as well about what was going on. It was this was a terrible case, right? An absolute terrible case. So I don't know. Um, anyway, I just felt that there's so many similarities in this case as far as the Wells as well. The way they laugh, the way they don't care, the way they play the games, and just remind me so much of Ben Hill Road. Um, and the fact that as of 2023 January, these children are going to need all the support they get to make sure that that our court system and our law system does what needs to be done to people like this. They should be made an example out of. Absolutely. All right. Well, I'm going to end for tonight. We'll be back in, God willing, tomorrow evening, and we'll be covering the Kylie case, um, and what there's the news is coming out tomorrow. There's going to be a briefing. So I wanted to let everybody know that that's coming out tomorrow. and we'll be discussing it tomorrow evening. What went on during that news briefing, and you know, if we believe they're covering it up or if they're going to, be honest and truthful. We just got to wait and see, right? We got to wait and see. So I'm going to go out of here with Summer's song. Good night, everybody. Much love. God bless. Keep those prayers going up. Keep those prayers going up. And for Summer, absolutely pray. We haven't found her. We have not found Summer yet. And how I wish we could. How I wish God will answer and let us find Summer. Know what happened to her, and we could get justice for her as well. But we can still get justice. You can get justice. You don't need a body. You don't need a weapon to get justice. All you got to do is prove, have enough circumstantial evidence, and they can prosecute you on it. So, Candace and Don still ain't safe because I think they have the evidence they need to get that done already. All right. So, good night. God bless. And God willing, we'll all be here again tomorrow night.